this video is about. Osiris raises temple but enemy attacks. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. Osiris raises temple but enemy attacks. In the time when the Nile flowed not just as a river, but as the lifeblood of the gods, the realm of Kemet thrived under the reign of Osiris, the lord of the afterlife, whose emerald skin glimmered like the rich fields of the delta. His heart beat in tune with the pulse of the world he ruled, for he understood that life and death were two sides of the same coin. Deep in the sacred valley, surrounded by towering papyrus and the cries of exotic birds, Osiris gathered his loyal followers. The air was thick with anticipation, for after centuries of strife, the time had come to raise the grand temple of Aset, honoring his beloved wife. The temple was to be a beacon of hope, a place where the weary could seek solace, and the lost could find their path back to light. As the first rays of dawn kissed the horizon, casting a golden hue upon the world, Osiris stood at the heart of the valley, his staff raised high. "Let the stones of this temple rise as the sun rises each day," he proclaimed, his voice deep and resonant. "With each stone, our hopes will be solidified, and with each prayer, the bonds of life and death will be strengthened." The gathered crowd, a vibrant tapestry of priests, warriors, and common folk, raised their voices in unison, echoing their devotion. Among them was Seti, a warrior of unmatched skill, his heart ablaze with loyalty. A noble soul, he had witnessed the devastation wrought by war, the shadows cast by envy. "I will defend this temple with my very life, my lord," he vowed, his eyes aflame with determination. But unbeknownst to them, shadows loomed beyond the horizon. In the distant mountains of the west, the dark god Set, brother to Osiris, seethed with jealousy. The sigils of Kemet had been a bitter reminder of his own exile, a fate he bore with a heart hardened by rage. "I will not allow this temple to rise," Set snarled, his voice a low growl that resonated through the stone caverns where he dwelled. He called forth his monstrous allies, creatures born of chaos and fury, the likes of which had not been seen since the days of the Great War. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows, a sinister army began to march toward the sacred valley, a tide of darkness threatening to drown the light of Osiris's hope. On the eve before the temple's completion, Osiris stood in silent communion with Aset. "My love, your essence will breathe life into this place," he whispered, feeling her spirit entwined with his. Aset had faced her own trials and tribulations, battling against the encroaching darkness of Set. In dreams, she visited Osiris, urging him to remain vigilant. As night fell, a sudden chill spread across the valley. With the stars glimmering like distant memories, the air grew heavy with an ominous silence. Seti, restless in his sleep, was awakened by a haunting cry echoing from the mountains. He knew instinctively that danger was upon them. "Rally the warriors," he yelled, his voice cutting through the stillness. "We must defend what we have built." The men and women of Kemet stirred, gathering weapons and armor, their hearts pounding with trepidation and bravery alike. Just as dawn broke, the horizon darkened with the advancing horde. The warriors stood shoulder to shoulder at the temple site, their spirits ignited with courage. For Osiris, for Aset, Seti roared, leading the charge. The air crackled with energy as the two forces collided, a cacophony of steel and cries, awakening the very gods above. In the chaos of battle, Set emerged, a towering figure of rage and envy. His eyes gleamed with malice as he brandished his spear, its tip shimmering with dark magic. "You dare defy your own blood," he thundered, unleashing a storm of energy that sent warriors tumbling like leaves before a tempest. Osiris, witnessing the turmoil, stepped forward, his staff glowing with golden light. "This temple will rise, brother. Your darkness shall not prevail," he declared, his voice carrying the weight of divine authority. The clash between brothers was fierce, a cataclysm of light and shadow illuminating the battlefield. Seti fought valiantly beside Osiris, dodging the oncoming blows of creatures that bore the wrath of Set. In the heart of battle, he spotted a monstrous serpent, its scales glistening like obsidian, slithering toward the unprotected rear of the warriors. "Protect the temple," Seti shouted, charging toward the serpent, steel glinting in the morning light. The beast hissed, lunging at him with fangs bared, but Seti parried deftly, his training and resolve pushing him forward. "You shall not defile this sacred ground," he roared, driving his blade into the serpent's flank. As the creature thrashed violently, the ground trembled beneath their feet. The warriors rallied, drawing strength from Seti's bravery, each fighting with fervor to protect their home. Steel met scale, blood met soil, and cries filled the air, a symphony of defiance against the encroaching darkness. Yet even as they fought against Set's minions, Osiris and Set were locked in a devastating duel. "You cling to power like a child to a toy," Set bellowed, lunging with fury. "This is not just a temple. It is a declaration of your supremacy. Your envy blinds you," Osiris shouted back, parrying with careful precision, the clash of their weapons sending shockwaves across the battlefield. "This is not about power, Set. It is about the souls we guide." Suddenly, just as Osiris found an opening to strike, a wave of darkness surged from Set, a vortex of despair that encircled them both. Osiris felt his strength waning, the very air thickening with Set's vile magic. "I will not yield," he cried, desperate to push back against the encroaching shadows. With a final surge of will, Osiris drew upon the very essence of the temple, channeling the collective hope of the warriors into a blinding light that pushed back against Set's dark magic. In an awe-inspiring moment, the temple's stones began to resonate, a melody of ancient prayers rising into the heavens, illuminating the battlefield. But Set, in his desperation, thrust one last devastating blow, channeling the full force of his rage into a dark spell meant to obliterate his brother. "You will lie in the ashes of your ambition," he screamed, the air crackling with dark energy and the ground trembling beneath the weight of divine fury. With time slowing, Seti turned just in time to see the impending doom of Osiris. "No," he yelled, rushing forward, heart pounding in dread, willing his body to defy fate. The clash of destinies loomed, a moment that would echo through time. The battle raged on, but in that fleeting heartbeat, Osiris and Set were locked in their final confrontation. The very fabric of their destinies wove together, light and darkness fighting for supremacy. Would honor and hope prevail? Or would betrayal and envy ruin Kemet's sacred legacy? As the first rays of dawn illuminated the horizon, casting light on the chaos, the outcome hung in the balance, a testament to the tenuous threads of fate, woven by the choices of gods and men. To be continued. Osiris raises temple, but enemy attacks, Part 2. In the wake of that fateful clash, the battlefield lay shrouded in an ethereal haze, the air thick with the acrid scent of blood and burnt earth. The warriors of Kemet, their spirits entwined with the divine, fought with fervor, yet uncertainty clawed at their hearts as they glanced toward the titanic struggle unfolding between Osiris and Set. Seti, having seen the dark spell unleashed by Set, felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. "I will not stand idle," he bellowed, rallying the nearest warriors even as they battled the encroaching horde. "We cannot allow despair to overtake us. Fight, fight for the light." With a fierce determination, he turned back to the serpent, now writhing in agony but still a formidable foe. With each swing of his blade, Seti felt the weight of destiny pressing down upon him. He ducked and dodged, parrying the serpent's thrashing tail while his comrades pressed forward, a collective wall of valor against the tide of darkness. Together, Seti roared, the sound reverberating through the fray as he led a charge into the creature's vulnerable underbelly, striking with the ferocity of a lion protecting its pride. Meanwhile, Osiris grappled with his brother, their duel a tempest of light and shadow. "You were once a guardian of the realms, Set. Why have you turned to darkness?" Osiris shouted, his staff glowing brighter with the power of the temple, his heart breaking as he saw the abyss within his brother's eyes. Set snarled, his voice a thunderous growl. "You claim guardianship, yet it is you who builds a throne upon my grave. The hearts of men will falter as they worship you, and I will be their whispered fear in the dark." He lunged again, a spear of shadow darting forward, but Osiris twisted aside, summoning divine energy to shield himself. In that moment, Seti, having dispatched the serpent, felt the pulse of divine energy emanating from the temple. He glanced towards Osiris, seeing the fight within him, a god standing against the storm of his own kin. "Your brother has lost his way, my lord," he shouted, emboldened by the sight of Osiris's struggle. "But we will not allow him to plunge Kemet into despair. We fight for you." With a surge of unity, the warriors rallied around Seti, their chants rising into the sky, forming a chorus of defiance. "For Osiris! For Aset!" they cried, their blades glinting in the light of the sun that broke through the clouds, illuminating the darkness that threatened to engulf their realm. As Osiris deflected another vicious blow from Set, he felt the strength of his followers bolster him, their unwavering devotion wrapping around him like a protective embrace. "Your darkness shall not snuff out our light," Osiris shouted, channeling their collective hope into a brilliant wave that surged toward Set. But Set's fury only intensified. "You think hope will save you?" he roared, unleashing a blinding torrent of dark energy that collided with Osiris's light. The resulting explosion sent shockwaves rippling through the battlefield, scattering warriors and monsters alike, as the ground trembled beneath the weight of their divine conflict. Fighting through the chaos, Seti felt his heart race, knowing that the outcome of this battle could seal Kemet's fate. "Press on, we must protect the temple," he yelled, his voice cutting through the cacophony. Determined to reach Osiris, he fought past the monstrous horde, weaving through twisted bodies and clawing talons. At the heart of the tempest, Osiris struggled against Set's relentless onslaught. "You are more than envy, Set. Remember our bond as brothers," he pleaded, as their powers clashed in a blinding spectacle of light and shadow. "Our destinies are intertwined." But Set's malice had obscured the light of their shared past. "You speak of bonds, yet you bind me to a fate of obscurity," he hissed, channeling his anger into a devastating strike aimed straight at Osiris's heart. "I shall not be forgotten." In a moment of desperation, Osiris raised his staff high, summoning the spirits of the fallen, their voices intertwining in a haunting melody that resonated through the battlefield. "Hear me, guardians of the afterlife. Lend me your strength," he called, invoking the power of the sacred realm that connected all souls. As ethereal forms began to rise, glowing with the light of the afterlife, Osiris felt their collective will merge with his own. The energy surged within him like a tide, illuminating the battlefield, dispelling shadows that threatened to consume the temple. "With every soul I stand," he declared, and the ground quaked with the force of the divine energy. Set staggered, momentarily taken aback as the spirits surged forth, their wrath a symphony of vengeance against the darkness he wielded. "No," he shouted, his voice cracking under the weight of his brother's resolve. "You will not break me." Seti, witnessing the awakening of the spirits, seized the moment. "Now is our chance, for the temple, for Aset," he shouted, his voice echoing through the hearts of his comrades. Inspired, they threw themselves into battle with renewed vigor, a storm of blades and shields pushing back Set's monstrous horde. Together, they fought with a ferocity that rippled through the air, each warrior embodying the hope of Kemet. Seti, at the forefront, rallied his soldiers, drawing them closer to Osiris, their focus united against the dark god. "We will not let despair win," he cried, charging toward Set, his weapon raised high. The moment hung in the balance, the energies of light and dark converging as Osiris and Set clashed again. "You cannot own the lives of mortals," Osiris shouted, feeding off the spirit's strength, the radiant energy spilling forth from him like a cascading waterfall toward Set. But Set, fighting against the tide, summoned his own darker minions, raging figures born of chaos and despair, their eyes blazing with malice. "You think your light can save you?" he laughed, a chilling sound that echoed across the battlefield. "My shadows will devour your hope." As the dark creatures surged forth, they clashed with the warriors of Kemet. A storm of chaos ensued. Seti, battling alongside his comrades, fought valiantly, deflecting blows and striking fiercely. "Together," he shouted, as they pushed back against the tide, their hearts forged in the fires of defiance. The air crackled with energy, both light and dark colliding in a cacophony of sound. Seti felt the weight of destiny upon him as he faced down a hulking beast, its fangs glinting menacingly. "I will not falter," he yelled, plunging his blade into the creature's side, the light of Osiris guiding his hand as it fell in a heap. Osiris, drawing upon the love he held for Aset, felt her spirit intertwining with the battle, providing him strength. "I will not allow your darkness to destroy what we have built," he declared, unleashing a wave of energy that pushed back against Set's minions, illuminating the battlefield with vibrant light. But Set, growing desperate, unleashed a torrent of dark magic that roiled like a storm, a tempest meant to smother the light. "I will bury you and your dreams," he thrashed, the very ground trembling as he fought to reclaim his hold on destiny. As the forces clashed, Seti caught sight of Osiris locked in a fierce struggle, the divine light threatening to extinguish under the weight of Set's fury. "I must reach him," Seti thought, determination coursing through him like wildfire. With each strike against the shadows, he pushed forward, driven by the hope of Kemet and the love of his fallen comrades. Finally, as the air crackled with energy, Seti broke through the fray, his heart racing as he neared Osiris. "My lord, together we can drive him back," he shouted, his voice breaking through the storm of chaos that surrounded them. Osiris, sensing Seti's approach, felt the power of unity swell around him. "Yes, together," he called, channeling the strength of their bond, the sacred connection that could not be severed. "We will rise as one." And so, as Set prepared to unleash one final, devastating blow, Osiris and Seti joined forces, their spirits intertwined, a beacon of hope amidst despair. They combined their powers, light and spirit igniting in a brilliant surge that shot toward Set, illuminating the battlefield in a dazzling display of unity. "Your darkness ends here, brother," Osiris roared, pushing forth with every ounce of strength he possessed. The very fabric of destiny twisted around them, light clashing against shadow as the tides of fate shifted in that moment. The culmination of their battle erupted, a blinding flash illuminating the skies above, echoing through the realms. Set, caught in the radiant burst of energy, felt the weight of his envy and rage collapse under the combined force of brotherhood and sacrifice. In that moment, the battlefield fell silent, and as the dust settled, the warriors of Kemet stood resolute. Osiris raises temple, but enemy attacks, Part 3. The silence that followed the blinding explosion was profound, a moment suspended in time, as if the very gods of the heavens held their breath. The warriors of Kemet stood, their ragged breaths mingling with the rising dust, their eyes wide as they searched for the outcome of the titanic clash. Set, the embodiment of darkness, had been engulfed by the radiance of their united stand. But what lay beyond that blinding veil of light? "Is it over?" Seti whispered, his body still thrumming with adrenaline as he looked toward Osiris, who stood amidst the fading brilliance, his golden silhouette shimmering like a beacon of hope against the remnants of chaos. With great effort, Osiris lowered his staff, the radiant energy flickering before settling into a soft glow around him. "The darkness has receded, but the storm is not yet quelled," he responded, his voice steady yet filled with foreboding. "Set's rage will find another path, and we must prepare." In the distance, a low rumble echoed through the valley, reverberating against the ancient stones of the half-erected temple. As the dust settled, dark clouds began to swirl ominously above, heralding a new threat. "Gather yourselves," Seti shouted, rallying the warriors who had fought valiantly. "We will not let this darkness breach our sacred ground." From the shadows of the battlefield, figures emerged, twisted silhouettes of loyalty and betrayal. Set's monstrous horde, though diminished, had not been entirely vanquished. The wounded and the enraged surged forth, clawing their way back, their eyes burning with malice. A monstrous jackal, striding on long limbs, led the charge, a creature bred from Set's own fury. "Stay strong, brothers and sisters, we are Kemet." Seti bellowed, his voice a clarion call that sliced through the air. "For Osiris, for Aset." The warriors responded with a fervor that echoed through the valley, their resolve igniting like a flame against the encroaching dark. With renewed vigor, they formed ranks, shields raised, swords glinting in the dawn light. The tension hung thick, each heartbeat a reminder of the fragility of hope. "We must protect the sacred site. The temple is more than stone. It is a promise," Osiris declared, his emerald eyes shining with determination. In the heart of the throng, Seti felt the power of the temple thrumming beneath his feet, connecting him to the land, the people, and the legacy they fought to uphold. "We will stand as one, fight for the light," he shouted, charging forward as the monstrous jackal lunged, jaws snapping with lethal intent. The clash was thunderous, echoing through the valley as Seti met the beast head-on. He parried its vicious bite, the force of the impact jolting through him. "You shall not pass," he roared, drawing upon the strength of his ancestors. With a determined thrust, he drove his blade deep into the creature's side. It howled, thrashing violently before collapsing, its body slumping to the ground. Yet even as he triumphed over one foe, more surged forth, a relentless tide of chaos. "Form ranks, protect our flanks," Seti urged, calling out to his comrades as they faced a swarm of twisted horrors. A giant scorpion, its pincers gleaming with venom, advanced on the left, while shadowy wraiths flickered in and out of sight, seeking to sow discord among the ranks. Osiris, witnessing the turmoil, felt his heart surge with a blend of pride and sorrow for his warriors. "Remember the faces of those we fight for," he urged, raising his staff to the heavens. "Let the spirits of our fallen guide your blades. We are the light against the abyss." Together, the warriors fought as one, a living wall of defiance. Seti, at the forefront, rallied his comrades, their unity forging a protective barrier against the darkness. "We are not just warriors, we are the heartbeat of Kemet," he shouted, deflecting another strike from a wraith, his shield raised high. Yet as the battle raged on, Osiris felt an undercurrent of despair, a shadow lurking just beyond reach. He turned his gaze skyward, where the storm above swirled violently, dark clouds roiling as if Set himself were conjuring a tempest of wrath. "We must find a way to dispel this darkness," he declared, channeling the temple's energy into his staff. The ground vibrated beneath him, and with a surge of will, he summoned the spirits of the sacred realm once more. Ethereal forms began to rise, their haunting melodies intertwining with the pulse of the land. "Hear me, fallen warriors. Fight alongside us once more," he called, invoking their strength to bolster the living. As the spirits surged forth, a radiant light enveloped the battlefield, dispelling the shadows that sought to engulf Kemet. Seti felt their presence, a rush of courage coursing through him as he turned to his comrades. "Feel it. The spirits are with us," he shouted, his heart swelling with hope. But Set, lurking in the depths of the storm, howled with fury as he sensed the tide turning. "You think you can defy me?" he bellowed, his voice echoing like rolling thunder. "This is but a fleeting light. I will drown you in despair." With a wave of his hand, he unleashed a torrent of dark energy, a maelstrom that swept across the battlefield like a flood. Seti and his comrades braced themselves, the force of Set's wrath crashing upon them, threatening to sweep them away. "Stand firm," Seti yelled, digging his feet into the earth, the temple's energy bolstering his resolve. Osiris, feeling the weight of Set's fury, raised his staff high, channeling the collective hope of his warriors into a blinding beam of light that cut through the darkness. "Together, we shall overcome this storm," he cried, the very fabric of the air shimmering with the combined power of light and spirit. The light pushed back against Set's tumultuous darkness, the two forces colliding in a cataclysm of energy that shook the ground. Warriors fought beneath the celestial struggle, their hearts ignited by Osiris's resolve. Each clash of steel rang out like a battle cry, a testament to their will to fight against the shadows. In the midst of it all, Seti felt the pulse of destiny guiding him, the weight of history resting on his shoulders. For the future of Kemet, he shouted, rallying the warriors around him as they pressed forward, determined to push back the tide of darkness. They surged toward Set's dark form, illuminated by the brilliant light of Osiris's empowerment. Set, enraged, summoned more minions, but the spirits of the fallen joined the fray, intertwining with the living. The battlefield erupted into a maelstrom of energy, light clashing with dark as the fate of Kemet hung in the balance. "Your darkness shall fall," Osiris declared as he channeled the spirit's power. With a burst of energy, he sent forth a blinding wave that washed over Set's minions, scattering them like leaves in a tempest, the light cutting through their malice. But Set, refusing to yield, unleashed the full extent of his fury. "You think you can extinguish my light? I am chaos incarnate," he roared, his form twisting in the dark storm, gathering energy for one final cataclysmic assault. "Stand together, draw upon the light," Seti urged, his voice echoing through the chaos. The warriors formed a tight line, shields raised, hearts aligned. "We fight for our people, we fight for our future." As Set unleashed his dark wave, a tempest unlike any they had faced, the warriors of Kemet held tight to their resolve. Osiris, standing at their helm, felt the weight of the moment, and in that heartbeat he made a choice. "We will show him the power of love, hope, and unity," he bellowed, channeling all his might into one final strike. With a brilliant burst, Osiris unleashed a wave of pure light, colliding with Set's impending darkness. The clash was cataclysmic, an explosion of energy that lit up the heavens, illuminating the valley in a blinding radiance. Warriors cried out, their voices blending into a crescendo of hope as they felt the power of the gods surging through them. As the darkness and light collided, Set's howls of rage twisted into cries of despair. The brilliance of Osiris's light engulfed him, unraveling the very fabric of his dark magic, consuming the shadows he had wrought. In that moment of unity, the warriors stood firm, their faith igniting the flame of victory. With a final roar that echoed through the realms, Set was consumed by the light, his dark form dissipating into the ether, leaving behind only silence. As the shadows faded, the storm above began to clear, revealing a sky painted in hues of gold and azure. The warriors of Kemet fell to their knees, breathless, their hearts pounding in unison as they looked upon the temple, now half erected and gleaming in the sunlight. Osiris, weary but unwavering, raised his staff high. "The darkness has been." Osiris raises temple, but enemy attacks, Part 4. As the brilliance of Osiris's light faded, the golden rays of dawn poured over the battlefield like warm honey, bathing the weary warriors in a cloak of hope. The echoes of Set's rage lingered in the air, but the palpable weight of despair that had threatened to snuff out Kemet now seemed to dissolve into the ether. Seti, still breathless and battered, lowered his sword, staring at the remnants of darkness that had once engulfed their realm. "Is it truly over?" he whispered, his voice trembling with the weight of the question. Around him, his brothers and sisters of Kemet knelt, their bodies weary but their spirits ignited with the triumph that had been hard-won. Osiris, standing tall amidst the wreckage, felt the faint pulse of the temple beneath his feet as it began to resonate with life. "Not yet, Seti," he replied, his voice steady yet filled with the shadows of concern. "Though we have cast off Set's darkness, the threads of his malice still linger. We must remain vigilant." Seti nodded, pushing himself to his feet and surveyed the battlefield. The bodies of Set's minions lay strewn across the ground, twisted and grotesque, yet the warriors of Kemet remained standing, united against the encroaching uncertainty. "We must fortify our defenses," Seti called out, rallying his comrades. "If Set seeks to strike again, we must be ready." As he spoke, the warriors of Kemet began to gather around him, forming a circle of hope and resilience. Each soul bore the scars of battle, but their unity shone like a beacon in the aftermath of chaos. Osiris watched, his heart swelling with pride and sorrow as he remembered the countless lives lost in this ceaseless war against despair. "Build the temple," he commanded, raising his staff high, the sunlight glinting off its golden surface. "Let the stones rise as a testament to our defiance. Let it stand as a symbol of hope." With renewed vigor, the warriors set to work, their hands moving as one, each stone they lifted embodying their shared spirit. As they toiled, the air thrummed with energy. The temple resonated, a living entity, responding to the hope and determination that flowed through the hearts of the builders. But amidst the exertion, an ominous cloud loomed on the horizon, a storm brewing in the west, dark and chaotic. Osiris felt its presence like a chill creeping down his spine, and he turned to Seti, who was directing the construction with fervent energy. "Prepare the warriors. Set will not rest until Kemet is engulfed in shadows." "Let him come," Seti replied fiercely, his eyes ablaze. "We will not yield, we will protect this sacred ground." As the temple began to rise, a sudden roar shattered the air, a bone-chilling cry that sent shivers through the hearts of even the bravest warriors. From the depths of the swirling storm emerged a titanic figure, cloaked in shadows, the embodiment of Set's wrath reborn. He had conjured forth a monstrous creature, an enormous, winged beast with scales as dark as the night sky and eyes that glimmered with malevolence. "Behold," Set howled, his voice a deep thrum of thunder. "The serpent of shadows, it shall consume your light and bury your hope." The creature soared above the battlefield, casting a massive shadow that enveloped the warriors of Kemet, chilling them to the core. Seti felt fear claw at his heart, but he pushed it aside, determination igniting within him. "For Kemet," he shouted, brandishing his sword to the sky, "we will not be cowed by your darkness." As the monstrous serpent swooped down, its fangs bared, Seti leaped forward, meeting its descent with the force of a lion. He thrust his sword upward, the blade glinting in the sunlight. "Your reign of terror ends here," he roared. The serpent twisted midair, evading his blow, and struck toward the center of their ranks. The warriors scattered, their hearts racing as they dodged the creature's maw. Seti rallied them, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Form ranks. Stand together." Osiris raised his staff, channeling the energy of the temple, the spirits of the fallen entwining with his resolve. "I will summon the power of the afterlife," he declared, his voice resonating with authority. "Together, we shall drive this darkness back." As the serpent unleashed a torrent of darkness, a wave of despair surged toward the warriors. But Osiris stood firm, a bastion of light amidst the encroaching shadows. With a mighty swing of his staff, he sent forth a blinding beam of energy that collided with the serpent's dark magic. The ground shook as light and dark clashed, a cataclysmic battle between the forces of creation and chaos. "Protect our home, protect the temple," Seti urged his companions, urging them to push back against the serpent's onslaught. As they formed a protective barrier, he felt the pulse of unity. The strength of their bond reverberated through him, a living pulse of hope. The serpent, enraged, lashed out, its tail sweeping across the battlefield, sending warriors sprawling. Seti ducked just in time, rolling to the side and charging toward the creature's exposed flank. "We must strike together," he shouted, coordinating with his comrades as they darted around the serpent, distracting it, finding openings to attack. Osiris, sensing the urgency in Seti's voice, lifted his staff higher, infusing it with the power of the temple and the spirits of the fallen. "Now," he shouted, sending forth a wave of energy that enveloped the warriors. "Channel your strength into the light." Seti felt the surge of power wrap around him, invigorating his weary limbs. "For Kemet, for Osiris," he bellowed, launching himself toward the serpent, his sword glinting with divine energy. The other warriors followed his lead, each strike resonating with the essence of their unity, their souls igniting in a chorus of defiance. With a fierce determination, Seti dodged the serpent's thrashing tail, leaping onto its back, the scales slick beneath him. "Strike! Strike now!" He yelled, urging his comrades to seize the moment. The warriors rallied, their weapons glimmering as they charged in, finding gaps in the serpent's defenses. As they fought, Osiris raised his staff, summoning the spirits of the fallen to join the battle, their ethereal forms swirling around the serpent, blinding it with light. "Your darkness will not prevail," he roared, pouring forth his power, creating a radiant barrier that pushed against the creature's malice. The serpent writhed, caught between the forces of light and dark, its screeches echoing through the valley. Seti, feeling the weight of destiny upon him, plunged his sword deep into the beast's side. "For Aset," he cried, feeling the connection to his fallen love surge through him, lending him strength. In the heart of the battle, Seti felt the tide shifting. "Together, warriors, we push forward," he urged, and they surged, a wave of resolve crashing against the serpent's defiance. With each strike, with each call to unity, they carved away at the darkness, their bodies becoming an extension of the temple they fought to protect. "Keep pushing," Osiris called out, sensing the shift in momentum. "We are the harbingers of light, stand firm." As they fought, Seti felt a connection to the very fabric of Kemet, the land, the spirits, and the legacy they upheld. He ducked and dodged, slashing at the serpent's scales, each hit fueled by the memories of those who had fallen for this fight. "We will not forget, we will rise." In a final, desperate act, the serpent reared back, unleashing a torrent of darkness that surged toward the warriors, threatening to engulf them. "No!" Osiris shouted, raising his staff high as the light within him burned fiercely. "Stand united, our hope is stronger than the shadows." With a mighty flourish, Osiris unleashed a wave of radiant energy, a cataclysmic burst that collided with the serpent's darkness, illuminating the valley in a blinding flash. The collision sent shockwaves rippling through the battlefield, scattering the darkness like dust in the wind. Seti felt the pulse of victory wash over him as the serpent recoiled, caught in the cascade of light. "Press on, we shall break the chains of Set's darkness," he urged, rallying his comrades as they surged forward, their hearts entwined in a symphony of defiance. With a final cry, Osiris directed the energy toward the serpent, and in a blinding explosion, the creature was consumed by the light, its form unraveling into ether like smoke dispersed by the winds of destiny. The battlefield fell silent, the storm clouds dissipating, revealing a tranquil sky painted in vibrant hues. Exhausted but triumphant, Seti fell to his knees, panting heavily, hands covered in the residue of battle. Around him, the warriors raised their weapons high, their voices echoing in a chorus of victory. "Kemet stands, we are the light." Osiris, weary yet resolute, looked upon.